Dis Dieremaniere, 'n RSG Bekbasaar vir elke dier en sy manier. Ek is Elsje van Jaarsveld en saam met my is ons produksieregisseur Vyver. Baie welkom by hierdie week se uitgawe. Vandag reis ons na plekke waar ons 4-voet vriende nie net welkom is nie, maar letterlik soos konings behandel en vereer word. Ons gaan eers rondloop in 'n unieke hondemuseum wat in Julie 2024 sy deure oopgemaak het om die diep impak wat honde op ons lewens het te vier. Daarna pak ons piknikkomberse in vir 'n besoek aan die Walkhaven Dog Park in Mildersdrift, 'n 22 hektaar paradys van oop velde en damme. Maar voor ons stertjies van opgewondenheid swaai, kom ons kyk eers vinnig terug na verlede week se uitgawe. Toe het ons ingeloer by die nuuskantoor van Marula Media. Ons het met Susan Lombard gesels oor hulle baie spesiale spanlid Japie. Japie is 'n golden retriever wat al vir 10 jaar die joernaliste se gemoedere lig. Dit was nou vir jou 'n lekker gesprek oor die verantwoordelikheid en die vreugde van 'n kantoorhond. As jy dit misgeloop het, gaan luister gerus daarna op ons digitale platforms. Maar nou is dit eers weer tyd vir Vian se dieregeluide. Vian, laat hoor bietjie, wat het jy vandag saamgebring? Nou ja, kan jy raai watter dier het ons hier? Ons leidraad vir vandag is: hierdie dier is die vinnigste landsoogdier, maar sy geluid klink glad nie soos die magtige brul van 'n leeu of die gerammel van 'n luiperd nie. Dit klink eintlik verrassend baie soos 'n voeltjie. 'n Voeltjie wat chirp of 'n huishond wat chunk. Luister gerus tot aan die einde van hierdie episode en dis wanneer Vian vir ons die regte antwoord sal gee. Kom ons spring dadelik weg met die eerste gesprek. Karel van Vyver vertel vir ons meer oor die fascinerende hondemuseum. Museum of Dogs. Die kunswerke daar, die geskiedenis van honde in Suid-Afrika en hoe jy self jou eie goedgemanierde hond aan 'n leiband kan saambring na hierdie binneshuise kunsparadys. En net daarna gesels ek met Ashley Enslin en sy is die eienaar van Walkhaven en dit is daardie 22 hektaar paradys waar die honde sonder 'n leiband kan biljaar. Karel, baie welkom by Dieremaniere. Jy gaan ons vandag alles vertel van die hondemuseum. Nou, 'n museum vir honde is beslis nie iets wat mense om elke hoek en draai sien nie. Waar het die aanvanklike idee vandaan gekom?
Die museum van honde is in die middestad van Kaapstad, in hierdie ongelooflike historiese gebou, maar het eintlik begin in die Oos-Kaap toe my tannie gesukkel het met kanker en sy met ons familie kom bly het. En vir my om te sien hoe haar honde, wat saam met haar gekom het, haar lewe verryk het terwyl sy gesukkel het met die siekte, was so ongelooflik dat na die tyd het my regtig laat dink ons moet iets meer doen om te wys en te verduidelik hoe belangrik honde is in mense se lewens, want ons almal wat honde het aanvaar het, maar jy dink nie regtig daaroor nie. En so het dit ontwikkel om ook te gaan oor hoe honde geskiedenis verander het, politiek verander het en ons eie land ook verander het.
Dis so 'n pragtige storie wat jy vandag vir ons vertel. Jy noem dat die museum nie 'n baie ernstige plek is nie, maar ons ken 'n museum as 'n redelike ernstige plek. So hoe balanseer mens die akademiese of historiese aspekte van 'n museum met die pret en emosie wat honde vir ons bring?
Die museum is nie 'n ernstige plek in die tradisionele sin van 'n museum nie. So daar's baie dele waar jy kan lag, daar's interaktiewe dele waar jy kan maak asof jy self so 'n hond is, byvoorbeeld sekere reuke ryk. Maar dan teen dieselfde tyd deel ons baie belangrike stories oor die geskiedenis van honde in Suid-Afrika, persoonlike stories oor mense, se lewens en hoe honde hulle geaffekteer het. En dan soos ek voorheen genoem het, ook honde in politiek.
Ja, dit maak heeltemal sin en een van julle uitstallings handel oor die geskiedenis van honde in Suid-Afrika. Kan jy vir ons een spesifieke historiese storie of 'n feit uitlig wat die besoekers gereeld verras?
Die geskiedenis van honde in Suid-Afrika is ongelooflik, dit gaan al vir duisende jare aan. Ek dink in Kaapstad veral bly die heel gunsteling storie, die storie van Just Nuisance en die manier hoe hy soldate gehelp het tydens die oorlog om moraal op te hou, hoe hy op die trein gery het, almal is so lief vir die storie van Just Nuisance, so hy is definitief 'n gunsteling.
Ek hoor julle het ook 'n uitstalling oor die honde van die Wit Huis in Amerika. Maar waarom dink jy fascineer troeteldiere van wêreldleiers die publiek oor en oor altyd so baie?
Ek dink is fascinerend vir mense hoe honde wat waarskynlik nie weet hulle is die president se hond nie, maar hulle speel tog so 'n belangrike rol in die politisie in terme van verkiesings, word die arme hond altyd uitgebring deur die president om homself soos 'n gewone mens te laat lyk. Maar daar is ook stories hoe honde gebruik word in die diplomatiek. So een van John F. Kennedy se honde was vir hom gegee aan die Russiese president of premier toe hulle probeer het om die verhouding tussen Rusland en Amerika te verbeter. So is interessant hoe honde op daai manier ook gebruik word.
Julle spog ook met fotografie en pragtige beeldhouwerk van baie bekende kunstenaars. Vertel ons daarvan.
Van die ongelooflikste foto's en beeldhouwerk. So ons het 'n fotografie-uitstalling van DJ Shelwell wat die fotograaf is van Kaapstad wat wys hoe sy honde die verskillende natuurplekke in Kaapstad bewonder en tyd daar spandeer. En dan het ons klomp verskillende beeldhouwerk van Tanya Bab wat hierdie deconstructed Delft standbeeldjies skep wat gemaak is asof 'n 3D weergawe van 'n Nederlandse Delft deel. So dis vir ons baie belangrik om die verskillende kunsvorme van honde uit te beeld. So dis fotografie, dis beeldhouwerk, dis musiek en ons ook 'n dokumentêr wat speel. So ons probeer al die verskillende kunsaspekte van honde uitstal.
Dankie Karel, dis so 'n unieke museum wat jy geskep het om ons 4-voet vriende te vereer. En nou is ons op pad na nog 'n plek waar honde soos konings behandel word en dit is Walkhaven naby Johannesburg. Vandag in Dieremaniere gesels ek met Ashley Enslin en sy is een van die eienaars van Walkhaven. Dis 'n park waar honde en diere heen kan gaan en sonder 'n leiband net kan rondhardloop baie naby aan Johannesburg. Ashley, baie welkom by Dieremaniere.
Baie dankie Elsje.
Dis vir ons 'n baie groot voorreg om vandag oor Walkhaven te gesels. Nou vir die luisteraars wat glad nie weet wat Walkhaven is nie, vertel ons van Walkhaven en ook die ontstaan van die park.
Walkhaven is a privately owned dog park in the Mulder's Rift area. We are on 22 hectares. Ons het 2 groot damme vir jou honde om te swem. We have lots of picnic areas and braai areas where you can come and spend the day with your family. There's a lovely dog-friendly restaurant with some treats for your dogs as well as for the humans. The park is open every day and is an off-lead park for all the doggos to enjoy their days.
Daai 2 damme waarvan jy nou net gepraat het, ek was nou al daar gewees en daar was 'n dame wat 3 keer 'n week Walkhaven toe gegaan het en vir haar Labrador 'n stok in die dam gegooi het en daai Labrador het gespem tot in die middel van die dam en weer uit. So is daar mense wat daagliks of selfs weekliks Walkhaven besoek, want dit is nou naby aan die stad, né? Jy sê nou in Mulder's Rift, maar daar's mense wat in klein eenhede bly en hierdie honde het plek nodig om te beweeg.
Baie van ons mense kom 2 en soms 3 keer per week om hulle honde te bring, want hulle het baie klein gardens and obviously, you know, a lot of dogs need a lot of exercise. It's a very safe place, especially for single ladies on their own with their dogs. We've got quite a following during the week, and weekends is always a lot more fun because we have a lot more visitors coming from quite far away, simply because they can spend the whole day at Walkhaven. It's not just a place where you'd come take a walk and have to go back home for straight afterwards.
So waar het die droom begin vir Walkhaven? Vertel ons van die ontstaan daarvan.
Wow. My pa was hy het honde getrain en een van die mense wat hy het getrain het gesê daar's baie dog parks in Amerika en hy dink mense wil betaal om hulle honde hier om te bring om te loop. So that's kind of where it all started off. And my parents then obviously built the dams and one thing has led to another. My husband and I have taken over the running of the property and the restaurant and we've kind of built it up over the years.
So watter stories hoor julle gewoonlik van mense wat hulle diere na julle toe bring? Jy weet ek glo daar's 'n baie groot dankbaarheid vir mense dat daar so iets bestaan.
Some of the stories, yes. I think for me, the most endearing is to watch people arrive for the very first time and let their dogs out the car. They jump out the car and they just run and run, and the people just stand there watching their dogs and just absolutely amazed to see their dogs actually running around and, enjoying themselves so much.
So as die honde, nou spesifiek waarvan ons nou praat, honde nie aan 'n leiband hoef te wees nie. En daar is soveel ander honde. Jy weet, hoe werk die interaksie? Is daar nou nooit 'n geveg tussen honde nie?
Ja, jy weet, honde wil honde wees. Apartheid, they're like people. Some people will get on, some people won't get on. In general, it's a very safe place for all dogs because it's an off-lead park and it's a neutral territory for most dogs. So, your dog is not going to be trying to protect its own garden. And we find the minute that a dog is off a lead, they become less protective over their owners. Obviously, we do ask that all dogs that come to Walkhaven are well socialized enough to be off lead. And we keep an eye on things. We do have a behaviorist who comes on weekends who helps us keep an eye on things and helps people who are unsure about what to do with their dogs. So it's a very safe place for people and their well-behaved dogs.
So jy praat nou van hierdie persoon wat na die gedrag van honde kyk. Hoe sal so 'n persoon 'n situasie tussen honde hanteer? Wat sal daai persoon doen wanneer honde bymekaar ontmoet?
So she normally stands close to the gate, so she will obviously keep an eye on the behavior of the dogs as they get out the car. If she can see that the dog is potentially going to be a problem, she will go address the owner, offer some suggestions to the owner, or even offer to take the owner up to the private play area to assess the dog correctly for Walkhaven. And obviously, if she can see that the dog is not going to fit in very well with the off-lead policy, then, the owners will be asked to remove their dog from the park itself.
Goed, so daar is daardie barometer om te kyk of die hond wel goed kan presteer. Maar gewoonlik, ek wil amper sê seker 95% dalk 'n bietjie meer van honde wat by julle opdaag, presteer baie goed tussen ander honde.
Yeah, at least 95% of them, yes, no problem at all. The dogs here are all very well behaved. It's the owners we need to keep an eye on, normally.
Ja, ek kan goed glo. En soos wat jy ook vroeër gesê het, die oomblik wanneer die hond nie meer aan 'n leiband is nie, wanneer dit nie sy huis of sy eiendom of haar eiendom is nie, dan reageer die hond heeltemal anders. So hoe reageer 'n hond gewoonlik wanneer 'n hond daar kom, nie meer 'n leiband nie, dit is 'n vry area? Hoe verander die gedrag in daai oomblik?
People are always fascinated by the fact that their dog is no longer pulling on the lead and trying to attack other dogs or, that sort of thing there. And it's simply, as I said, because off lead, a dog is less likely to become aggressive because it's not protecting the space around you and it doesn't have its bed or its garden or what have you. Dogs, it's neutral territory. It seems to work very well with dogs.
Het julle reëls by die park? Jy het nou vooral vroeër gesê dat daar 'n persoon is wat kyk na die gedrag van 'n hond en sommer kan oordeel hierdie hond gaan nie goed inpas vandag nie. Maar wat is julle ander reëls van die park?
We do ask everybody to their dog poo to pick up. Obviously, it is important to keep the park nice and clean. We do have people helping with that, but obviously they can't be everywhere all the time. We do ask if your dog does have to stay on a lead that they are well socialized enough to be on a lead. So although we do say we're an off-lead park, your dog can be on a lead if they're okay to be on a lead. That's important. Now, operating hours, we do ask that people just keep an eye on the operating hours. And really, that's it. Otherwise, just come and enjoy yourself. Humans are not allowed to swim in the dams. Maar die honde kan swim as hulle wil. Die water is lekker skoon.
En klein hondjies teenoor groot honde. Daar is klein Jack Russelltjies en seker Yorkies ook, maar dan is daar groot Dobermans en Golden Retrievers, so daar is klein en groot honde. Vertel ons meer daarvan.
100%. Obviously, you generally find that the little dogs are more vocal than the larger dogs.
Yes.
So we do obviously recommend to all owners when they bring their little dogs that obviously if your small dog is creating havoc by barking or running up to another dog, that there is a potential that dog will eventually snap. Even people get angry when they're pushed beyond the limits. So we do ask people just to please take a walk with your dog, let them run off some steam. Before you go and sit down somewhere, let the dog have a good run around so that they're nice and calm by the time that you sit down, so that they're not so full of energy and less likely to cause mischief with each other. And obviously the people with the bigger dogs need to be aware that they do have bigger dogs, and that obviously if a little dog bites another dog, it's a smaller bite. If a bigger dog becomes aggressive, there is more of a risk of injury. So, people do need to be aware of their dogs all the time, at all times, and not just sit down and let the dog run around without any supervision.
En het julle al gevalle gehad waar daar honde buite was?
Yes, it's a dog park. Dogs can be very unpredictable. Things do happen. I suppose it's the same as a nursery school. Children lose their temper with each other as well. And you're going to get the occasional snap. You're going to get the occasional person even getting bitten by somebody's dog, perhaps when they're trying to protect their own dog. But that's very far and few between. And because we have people walking around all the time, our staff cleaning up and the behaviorist, obviously, we're more aware of what is going on, and we're able to react quick enough to hopefully stop it before it actually happens. So the minute we see there's a potential for danger, the offending party is asked to leave or obviously leash their dog.
Okay, goed. So dis heeltyd iets om te bestuur. Dit is nie net dat jy die park kan oopmaak en daar kan die mense nou net wees nie. Jy moet maar heeltyd jou oog hou oor die mense en die diere.
Yes, it's quite a big responsibility to make sure that everybody stays safe at all the time, which is one of the main reasons that we now have hired a behaviorist lady to be here and keep an eye on things, because obviously we can't be everywhere all at the same time, being such a big property.
Ja.
And we also appeal to our customers, as hulle iets sien, moet hulle iets sê vir ons. Our telephone numbers are available all over, and they're welcome to call us and say, there's an aggressive dog, or I've just had a problem with somebody, or whatever the case may be, and we will obviously immediately attend to whatever is going on down in the park.
Dit moet ook 'n groot uitdaging wees om alles te onderhou. Soos ek verstaan, 22 hektaar groot area, né, by Milderstrift. So, en die honde beweeg oral. Daar is sekerlik ook kleiner spesies, wildlewe wat rondbeweeg. Vertel ons van die onderhoud en die skoonmaak van so 'n groot area.
Especially with the price of petrol and diesel now, it has become quite an expensive exercise. But obviously we have 4 gardeners, full-time gardeners, all the time mowing the lawns, keeping the gardens nice and neat, picking up extra dog poop that hasn't been found by the owners. It is quite a challenge, keeping it nice and neat and tidy for all of our visitors. Constant breakdowns with things like lawn mowers and weed eaters and those sort of issues. But overall, we managed to keep it in order a lot.
Aanvanklik toe julle die park begin het, was dit vir mense iets om aan gewoon te raak, want dit is redelik nou volop dat daar hondeparke is waar jy nie noodwendig jou hond heeltyd aan 'n leiband te hou nie, maar Walkhaven is nog steeds 'n baie unieke konsep met die damme en die feit dat dit so groot is en die honde vry kan hardloop. So aan die aanvanklike jare was dit iets waaraan mense moes gewoond geraak het en julle begin ondersteun het.
Ja, dit was baie vreemd vir mense. In die begin, jy weet, mense het gesê, hoekom moet ons betaal om ons honde te kom loop? So we had to explain that obviously there is an upkeep to the property. We do need to pay gardeners. We do have to pay for petrol and, these sort of things. So it was a very unique concept. This was over 30 years ago when we first really started off with the first people. And at that point in time, it was just people coming and walking their dogs. We've kind of grown it from there. We now have a little private play area. So you were asking about small little dogs. If somebody is worried about that, we have a little private play area that they can book for an hour and go into, and their dog can run around. There's a little pond, and it's perfectly safe. And that's available for one family, one person at a time kind of thing. So, we have evolved as we've gone along. We're putting up little obstacles for the dogs, and now we have a kids playground. So as we've gone, it's evolved. The restaurant, pizzas and all that sort of thing.
Is daar ook mense wat na julle toe gekom het en gevra het vir raad dat hulle nou ook 'n hondepark by hulle plekke, by hulle dorpe kan open? En daai raad wat jy het vir ander mense?
A lot of people will come and ask for information or assistance, and we're quite happy because obviously there's a huge requirement for dog parks or for safe, clean areas for people to go and take their dogs out. Most people live in tiny little townhouses with small little gardens, so it's a very important thing that that there are wide open places for people to go out and walk their dogs.
Watter raad het jy vir ander mense wat ook 'n hondepark wil begin? Dalk nou nie in Mildersdrift en in die onmiddellike omgewing nie, maar dalk elders. Jy weet, eerstens moet jy seker die regte eiendom hê en daardie regulasies waaraan jy moet voldoen binne die munisipaliteit se reëls.
I think each municipality has their own rules and regulations, more around the things like obviously the food and that sort of thing. So Walkhaven being a place where you can come and do picnics and what have you, and being a privately owned park has never been too much of an issue. Obviously, we need to keep the area clean. We need to make sure that our visitors are safe and that we have all the insurances and what have you in place. But apart from that, I'm pretty sure anybody could open up a park, and it's just getting it out there and letting people know that it is a safe place for people to come, and building up your own unique identity, which I think we've done quite well over the past years.
Maar baie wel gedaan daarmee. Is daar ook nou honde wat julle nou al ken? Jy weet, hulle ken nou al vir julle ook. Want hulle kom so gereeld en julle voel nou al deel van hulle familie.
Ja, ons het baie van die, especially on a Friday, ons het 'n groep ouers van die old age home. Hulle kom om met hulle klein hondjies om lunch te hê. So we have our regular visitors. We actually have created an annual pass. So instead of them having to pay every single visit that they come to Walkhaven, they can buy an annual pass. And then they're welcome to come and go as they please. That really helps the people who come on a regular basis. And yes, they do. They become part of our family. We do. We know their dogs' names, and the dogs know us, and they always greet us when we go down. So yes, it has grown into quite a family thing too.
Dit lyk of julle van krag tot krag gaan. Wat is julle planne vir die volgende 5 jaar vir Walkhaven?
Wow. That's a very good question then. We're busy with a market. So we are busy putting together market stalls, which are going pretty well. We now have 3 permanent marketeers here, and then every second Sunday of the month, we have a full market where people come and set up their stalls and sell their doggy-related products, human-related products, just about anything. And we're slowly building up the market side of things to make it a complete day out for the family, so they can come do a little bit of shopping, grab a bite to eat or have a braai, go for a walk with their dogs.
Ashley, as jy 'n besigheid begin het waar dit soveel moeite verg om 'n besigheid te bou en dan ook die eiendom in stand te hou, moet jy self baie lief wees vir honde.
Oh, baie. Jy moet baie lief vir honde wees. I was very lucky that I was brought up with a dog-mad family. Literally, my father was a gun dog trainer. So right from a very young age, we've never had less than 8 to 10 dogs, many cats as well, and lots of animals. So, in general, animals are our life. And I don't know what we'd do without them.
Julle eie honde is ook seker in die hemel daar by Walkhaven.
Our dogs are just a bunch of spoiled brats. Hulle dink hulle own the entire park. Hulle het 'n groot garden van hulle eie, maar elke aand gaan ons loop daar by die damme saam met hulle. Ons het 8 honde en 3 katte. So they do think that they own the entire place, but obviously we only let them out fully supervised because dogs will be dogs, and we need to keep an eye on them at all times too.
As jy vir mense 'n bietjie raad kan gee, want daar's soveel mense wat graag diere wil aanhou, maar hulle is nie noodwendig in die posisie of nie noodwendig die eiendom of dalk in 'n kompleks waar daar nie diere toegelaat word nie, of dalk net klein diertjies. Weet, wat sal jy vir mense sê wat in kleiner eenhede bly, maar wat dalk 'n geleentheid het soos Walkhaven om wel die honde te stimuleer?
I do believe that people do need to be aware of what breeds they get, depending on obviously where they live, the size of their garden, their living arrangements, how often they're away from the house, if they work all day, etc., etc. Because obviously dogs do need a lot of stimulation, and depending on the different breeds, you can't, for example, go and get a beagle and put it in a townhouse garden. You know, that beagle will probably tear the garden up into tiny little pieces. So yes, I think it's important that if anybody wants to get a dog, that they perhaps consult with a behaviorist beforehand, or have a look at the different breeds and decide, you know, perhaps a little Maltese poodle would be a better option for somebody in a smaller garden, you know. And yes, absolutely. I do believe that it's vital that dogs, doesn't matter even if they've got a massive garden like our lot do, it's important that they still get out. I take 3 of our dogs running every week as well to different places, because it's great stimulation for them to get away from their own home territory, so to speak, as well.
Ashley, baie dankie dat jy vandag die storie van Walkhaven met ons gedeel het. Wonderlik dat daar so 'n geleentheid is vir mense om hulle honde heen te neem. Ons praat nou spesifiek van honde. Ek weet nie of julle ander diere ook toelaat nie, maar dit is eintlik maar dis waarop julle fokus is honde.
Yeah, net honde. One year we did a April Fool's Day post where we said Saturdays were going to be cat days, and everybody was horrified to think that we'd allow cats here. It was obviously an April Fool's.
Ja, van die honde en die katte sal nie so goed oor die weg kom nie, dit hang net maar af.
Ja.
Ashley, baie dankie vir die gesprek vandag op Dieremaniere. Alles van die beste, en een van die dae kom kuier ons vir julle by Walkhaven. Is dit nie wonderlik om te sien hoe honde as ware familielede geëer en gevier word nie? Of dit nou deur kuns en geskiedenis is in 'n museum, of deur vry rond te hardloop en in damme te swem, soos by Walkhaven. Baie dankie aan Karel en Ashley vir vandag se gesprekke en die spesiale ruimtes wat julle vir ons diere skep. Wian, ons is terug by jou vir vandag se dieregeluid. Kom ons luister net gou weer. Wian, wat dier het ons hier gehoor?
Vandag se dier is 'n jagluiperd. Hoewel hulle ongelooflike jagters en die vinnigste landdiere is, kan hulle nie brul nie. Hulle kommunikeer met 'n hoë chirpgeluid wat amper soos 'n voeltjie klink, veral wanneer maas en welpies mekaar roep of wanneer hulle mekaar groet.
'n Jagluiperd, en dit is nou 'n baie fascinerende feit van hulle. Dankie, Wian. Dit is dan waar ons moet groet vandag. Dankie vir jou omgee vir ons diere en waar jy ook al vandag 'n verskil maak in 'n dier se lewe. Onthou om 'n draai te maak op ons sosiale media. Ek is Elsje van Jaarsveld en ek groet ook namens ons produksieregisseur Wianel. Tot ons volgende week weer gesels. Tot dan, totsiens en geniet jou diertjie.